So looking at the timeline, if you decide to do a DIY project, when should you start that?
While you're listening to this podcast right now.
Right now. Hit pause.
Go
to Michael's.
And get started.
Yeah.
No, I mean, seriously, you want to start like as soon as possible. Like I think about like anytime I've tried to undertake a DIY project, I'm like, oh yeah, that'll take no time. I'll do that quickly. I mean, I did that for our wedding. I was like, yeah, I'll do DIY all this stuff. And then the week of the wedding, I was like, all right, well, this project's out. This project's out.
Yep.
We're not having menu cards. Like, you don't want that to happen. So start now. Like I said, do one project. See how long it took you. Do your number one DIY project. Like, if you could only do one, what would it be? I
like that. That's a great idea.
Get that done. And then see, like, do I have 6 months left? Great. Let's knock out another DIY project. Do I have 2 days left? Probably not going to happen. So knock out like your biggest project first and your number one project. And then you can decide, how many more of those things you can take on. You might realize like, whoa, this was way bigger investment than I really wanted to make. Or you might realize like, oh my God, I love this. I'm going to do everything else DIY for my wedding. And then I'm going to do more stuff after it. And, maybe you found a new passion, but yeah, start now is my long story to tell you that.
Yeah, it's funny. This is not wedding day related, but when you started Something Perfect a couple moons ago, I remember when you did your first bridal show and you DIY'd the backdrop, and that thing looked awesome.
It did,
but it took forever.
I had to bribe a lot of people with pizza and wine to help me. Like
there
a
still
lot.
wasn't enough.
There wasn't enough people, or there wasn't enough people, pizza and wine?
Pizza and wine, or people, actually. all of the above.
It's a good thing our friends and family love me.
Yeah. And then for me, it was the setup of it.
Yeah.
That's the other thing you have to really think about here when you're doing a DIY project is how does it affect my setup and my timeline there?
Yeah. And it's not even so much like who sets it up. It's like the timeline, like you mentioned, like how long it's going to take, because setting up like your centerpiece, for instance, maybe you have like, a tree stump, and then you have like a thing that goes on a lantern, and then you have like, a couple of different candles, and then you have to fill
floating.
the candles with water. And then, you have all these different things.
Oh wait, where do I fill it?
Where's the water source?
Yep. That's heavy now that the glass is full.
Are there price tags on everything that have to come off?
Oh, yeah.
So there's just like, you don't think about it, but like that alone could take you, 20 minutes per table.
Right.
So
times 10 tables.
Yeah.
Or more.
Yeah. That's a lot. That's a lot of setup time.
Yeah.
And so it's not even the restriction of like who sets it up, but like, what if your venue only allows you to get in 2 hours before, how you do that math? You're not going to have time.
Yeah.
Unless you bring in like a team of like, 12.
Right.
So the setup time alone is definitely a detractor of doing DIY. That's why like I love like doing like DIY signs or like table numbers or like things that you were already going to do that can easily get set up in that time period.
Sure.
And maybe like one signature DIY piece that's not going to take, too long to set up.
Yeah.
Or break down.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Because when you are DIYing it, like it's just the setup is going to be much different than with something that people have done a million times before.
For sure.
And then one more question for you: when you are kind of going back to the other one, when you are setting out to do your DIY projects, what kind of deadline do you give yourself? Like at this particular moment in the planning process, I have to be completely done.
I would aim to have it done, a couple weeks before your wedding, but at the latest 1 week before your wedding.
Yeah.
Because 1 week before your wedding is crazy. A, you're trying to usually wrap up work. And then, B, you have like friends and family coming in. Everybody wants to see you.
Right.
You're trying to finish up wedding prep and make sure you have everything, and you're boxing everything up, and you're getting your gifts wrapped, and and you're like stressed. Like there's just so many pieces of it that like you don't want like, I can't hang out with you because I'm sitting at home trying to figure out, how to put my fans together for my programs. Like that's not fun for people. So you want to make sure that you kind of have that done at least 1 week before the wedding.
Okay, perfect. So then, as always, to kind of wrap up here, what are the key takeaways that our couples should glean from all of this?
Start small. pick that one priority project and get it done. See how long it takes you, how you feel about it, if you liked it, if you hated it. Make sure that you give yourself enough time just in case you have a Pinterest fail and you have to start all over again. And then once you've completed it, make sure that you know how long it's going to take and how it's going to affect your timeline as far as like setup and breakdown time, and make sure you know who's going to be responsible for setting that up. You might assume that your venue's going to set it up, or maybe your planner's going to set it up, or that your mom's not going to mind coming to set it up. But I would say don't make an assumption about that.
Yep.
You need to make sure that it fits in your timeline. You know, you might think mom's going to have all the time in the world on wedding day, but she's not. She's going to want to be with you. She's going to be getting her hair and makeup done. She's not going to want to set up your stuff.
And she's going to be emotional too.
Right. And you're not going to want to set up your stuff. You might think that you're going to, but you're not going to. So, you know, make sure that you've talked to whoever you're hoping is going to set that up and find out, like, how much is this going to cost me to have you set this up? Because that might not be something that that person's responsible for. So those are those next steps before you get too far down the DIY path.